We are good. You guys can hear me. All right, so here we go. AMS Profit Pipeline, module number 4. We're talking about product display ads mastery, and well, I'll show you exactly what they are for those of you who don't know. But this is what a lot of people talk about as, ethically hijacking our customers or our competitors' listings. And there's a few other things we're going to be able to do, actually a whole lot more. But one of the kind of the sexiest parts of this, which is awesome, it is exciting, is that we can dive into our competitors' listing and really like steal sales right under their nose. And I'm going to show you some really cool strategies to do that even more effectively. So let me just, so we're on the same page just like last week. Let me just show you what we're doing here. We're talking about headline ads, so same thing, advertising, new campaign, you have choices. We're not going to really talk about sponsored products in terms of running ads here. I will show you how I use sponsored products for some competitive research and kind of some competitive analysis and keyword research, which is awesome, and we'll do that next week. I'll cover that. But for today, we covered headline last time. Now we're going to talk about product display. So let me hop out of here, and let's see if this thing is, there we go. All right, and let's hop into here. Okay. So just so we're all on the same page, what we're talking about, product display ads. So this is just a product listing, right? This is just some floss. And product display ads, so a lot of you know that there's ads down here. So sponsored products, there's ads down here. Now for those of you who didn't know, when you have a search term report, so let me just pull this up because we are going to talk about this today. When you look in your search term report and you see, let's see, where am I? I'm too far over. Okay, so if we look at customer search term, let's just go ahead and look for this, and we'll look for B. I think we had one in here. I know we had a ASIN in here. I just want to show you. So what was this one? Let's see if we can find it in here. Should be in here. I'm not sure why it's not coming up, because it definitely did come up. Well, in any case, so when you look in your search term report and it'll have, like, let's say one of these will be like B00123Y2 whatever, right? And you see that in there and you're like, wait, what the heck? Like, why is there a ASIN inside of my customer search term report? Well, that's coming from when your ad. So this is not what we're talking about today, but I just want to show you the difference. When you're running sponsored products, and your ad for your product. So let's say this is your product right here. When it appears in another product listing, and if I click this ad right now, they're going to get a cost. They're going to get a charge for this click, and it's going to show up in. So if this is me in my customer search term report, this ASIN is going to show up in here. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's traditionally what you see in sponsored products, and we're going to use that today strategically. But what we're talking about is a different type of ad inside of a listing, because this we can't really control. We can't target ASINs. A lot of people who've been running sponsored products, they see those, once they understand what that ASIN means in their customer search term report, they go, oh, sweet, so let me target those. You can't. There's no way to do it. So basically it's a throwaway. You could use it for maybe information, but not much you can do with it. But this is what product display ads allow you to do. You can actually target this listing and you say, boom, I want to advertise here. So this company here, and this makes sense, this is actually pretty good. I'll show you some that don't make any sense. It just goes to show you the opportunity that's still available with product display, because people aren't really doing it strategically. But in this case, Waterpik is kind of a more advanced way to floss, so they've decided to advertise under this dental floss. But this is what we're talking about today. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. I know that was probably the longest explanation, but I just wanted to make sure you guys knew the difference, because I know there is some confusion about product display and sponsored products inside of a listing. All right, so as usual, I got some notes that I want to go through today, so let's just dive right in. Now, as you know, we have a 3D approach to how we do product display ads. If you saw our training, we say defend, destroy, and diversify. So we're going to go through each one of those today. All right, so like we said, first thing you do, you select product display. You have two choices. You could target product or interest. I'm going to ask you for the near future to always use a product strategy, and I'll show you exactly products to target and the strategy to use. Interest is, you can try it. We've never really had good performance, mainly because you are giving Amazon like free reign. It's kind of like an auto-targeting campaign where you're saying, listen, go out there and show my stuff or what you think relates to my product. Now, you may have some success, but there's two problems. One, you don't really know what they're targeting because they don't give you any reporting. And two, you have no way to optimize because you don't know what they're targeting, so you can't really like, I mean, you can pick the interest. You just don't know like at a granular level what actually is giving you a good result. So the story is, for now, you're more than welcome to try this, but I would encourage you to first try product. All right. So the first thing we have to do, we're going to defend our listing. So just so we know, so let's say this is our listing, right? We want to defend. So right now, this is actually good targeting, right? These people are hopping into this listing and they're saying, hey, come buy us. You know, I'm about to hit, you know, add to cart or buy now, and boom, they decide to hop in here. And we don't want that. We want to defend our own listing. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose the product to advertise. We're going to call this the defender. And we're going to pick that. So basically, you're just going to drop the ASIN in here. We're going to take this guy. We're going to copy, and we're just going to drop that bad boy in there. And we're just going to select him, and that's it. Okay? Boom. So we selected it. And the same way, here it's going to ask you choose the product targeting type. Now, for our defend product display ads, we're going to target specific products, because one of our rules, and write it down or commit it to memory, with the current way that it's structured, for us to really optimize, and this is probably one of like, it's such a simple trick or tip, but like I've literally never run across anyone that does it. Maybe because it's kind of a pain, admittedly, but it is the best way to optimize. I want you guys to do one campaign, one ASIN. So only one ASIN in one campaign that we're targeting. So literally, you could add as many things as you want here, but what I really want you guys to do is to only pick one, because that allows you to see which one is performing, and then you can scale up the ones that are doing well. You can drop off the ones that aren't. Because if you have 5 ASINs in here and you're running at a 25% ACoS, one of these might be performing at 3 and another one might be performing at 50. Like, you have no idea, because right now the reporting doesn't break it down. So the way we get around that, it's a little more cumbersome, but we're going to get granular at the highest level. That way we know, boom, what's performing. Cool? All right. So let me just make sure I'm following along here. I want to cover everything. Okay. So now we got to get to product selection. So we know, to recap, we know that we did, we chose the product, right? We know that we did the product to advertise. So we went ahead and did the mouthwash. And really, you can choose any product you want. Like, there's no rule about this. But what I would encourage you to do when you are talking about defend, defend with the first rule. I mean, let's be totally clear. Is we want to target complementary products, right? Kind of like a sales funnel. So in a sales funnel, if I'm going to sell you product A, then on the next page, when I'm going to try to like upsell to something else, I want a very related complementary product. So basically, we talk about scratching an itch. If I scratch the itch of, you got a toothbrush, then you've already bought toothbrushes, right? Like, you're good there. But then the next thing I want to show you is the mouthwash, right? It's like the next itch that you have. And that's kind of how you want to be thinking, complementary products. Now, if you don't have complementary products, don't even worry about it. The main priority is I want to defend my real estate. So if all I've got is I've got mouthwash and I've got cell phone cases, then just throw the stinking cell phone case in there. Granted, you're not going to convert as well, and your ACoS won't be as good, but at the very least, someone else isn't snatching your sales. Does that make sense? Hopefully that's clear. Because I don't want people to get hung up like, oh man, I don't have complementary products and all this. At the very least, just put something in there so that you can block it. All right. So now let's talk about what targets or what products you're gonna target specifically. So again, target specific products, and we're going to use an ASIN. Now we have a few ways that we can do it. So let me just show you. One of the best kept secrets in your reporting, and it's really best kept because there wasn't a whole lot we can do with it before, is your other ASINs report. So in Seller Central, if you go to advertising reports, like the same way we talked about when you went to your search term report. If you go just a few rows over, you're going to see search term report, campaign performance report, and other ASINs report. No one ever uses this one. We used to use it just to get an idea of other product related niches that were really good for us to get into. But what is awesome about that, it will tell you what SKUs people, which one of your ASINs people purchased within a month of clicking one of your ads. That's really powerful because now you're going to know, especially if you have if you don't have a lot of products, maybe it won't reveal that much. But if you have 5, 10, 15, 20 products, you'll be able to specifically check, all right, when people bought this, like what ASIN did they go and purchase within a month of clicking this ad? So that's very powerful. And the one that obviously was purchased the most, there's a little bit of data behind that, so that's what I'm going to start as the product I'm going to target. And what I mean by that is, this is the product I'm going to target with the Defender. So right now, I'm going to use this guy. This is my big seller, right? I'm going to use him. It's a complementary product. I'm going to use him in here. So I'm going to kick Sensodyne out of here, and I'm going to put my ad inside of my own listing. So does that make sense, guys? Hopefully it does. If you have any questions, just like always, at the end we'll address them all. So just to be clear, this is the advertising product. This is the listing we're going to advertise in, and we got this first by checking our other ASIN report, which again is in your Seller Central side under advertising reports. Super helpful, really easy to read, and we're going to use that. If not, use a little common sense. What are things that go together? And at the very least, just make sure that you are defending your listing so that your competitors can't hop in there. All right. Always uncheck this at first, at least, because this is also giving basically your blank check to Amazon, and we don't want to do that. So now let's talk about naming convention. You guys can have any naming convention you want. I'm not saying there's one absolute right way and every other way is wrong, but what I will say is just be consistent. Consistency just makes your life easier, and you know what you're doing. So the naming convention we use, we say the type it is, defend, diversify, or destroy, or diversify. If it's defend, it's our own product. So if I have 17 different types of toothpaste, then be a little more specific. But in this case, we're going to say I'm defending the toothpaste with this Defender, with the mouthwash. So this is kind of how it breaks down. We have defend, the target ASIN, where we're advertising inside of, and the advertised product. The Defender in this case is the mouthwash. In terms of details, product display tends to be a little more expensive in general, not always, but obviously, again, this is super category specific. You could start at 50 cents. In fact, 50 cents here would probably be fine. We could always scale up. I typically go somewhere between 50 cents and $1, so we'll just say 75. There's no like hard, fast rule about this. It honestly comes down to you bid conservatively, something reasonable, and then we adjust and we see how it performs. And that honestly is like the name of the game. Budget $10 per day. You won't spend $10. If you do, we can lower the budget. We can lower the CPC. We just use that as sort of a baseline. All right. So next thing. Okay. So our headline. So what we say is state the compliment. That's the headline. This headline beats the control most of the time, in most cases, because it's just the most obvious headline. You're literally just calling out what the listing is. Kind of like with headline, you're calling, like in the headline ads, you're calling out the keyword. You're calling out what they're in. Like they are in a natural toothpaste listing, so it's the perfect complement to your natural toothpaste. That's sort of the baseline you'd want to test. From there, you can test all kinds of different things. But the main thing you're trying to do is state the complement. Why is this product complementary? And just make it obvious, right? But this is a great one to start with. Brand name, put that. You can put a custom image, and here it gives you a preview of what your ad will look like in different sizes. They do it in different ways. It'll show you what it looks like in mobile, and some different image sizes. So that's about it for Defend. It's pretty straightforward. If you guys have more than just a few products, it's like you're gonna you're going to love that other ASIN report because it's got some really cool data, and that's where you're going to want to start. And again, the big thing, make sure you only do one target ASIN per campaign, and all you'll do is you just copy this, everything the same. You're only changing one variable, which is the ASIN that you're going to advertise. That's it. Everything else stays the same because when we're running ads, we only want to change one thing at a time. If you change the headline and the product you're targeting, you don't know what caused the higher cost or lower cost. Was it the headline or was it the product? So if we're testing 2 products and 2 headlines, we're going to have 4 ads, right? Because we're going to have headline with 2 different products, and then same product with 2 different headlines, right? So you're going to have to make sure that you only change one variable at a time. And just so we can be on the same page, the new ad, assuming we win the bid, and that's where we're going to have to see how many impressions we get, and is it actually winning, and we may have to up our bid, but that's how we'll be able to take over that spot. And that's all I have. Let's see. Yes, that wraps up our defend strategy. So again, if you guys have any questions, make sure you put them in there. Is that pretty clear, guys? Because I will answer all the questions at the end, but I do want to make sure that as we go along, it's at least you guys are at least on the same page, because I don't want to lose you guys too early on, because we got a lot to cover. So if you just give me like a yes, or I'm with you, yes, clear, awesome. Maybe one more. Okay, we got a question. Yes, it's clear. Okay, cool. And again, if you guys have any questions, you know where to go. The group after at the end here, we'll get to it. All right. So next, let's talk about destroy, which is the one that we all want to know about, right? We all want to know how we can hop into those competitor spots. So what we do here, and we're talking about how do we basically start hijacking our competitors. How do we advertise this inside of their listing? So same thing as before. We're going to do product. We're going to do the same. This is where we definitely want to go. Pick your best-selling product. If you got 5 different products, you have 10 different products. Pick the best-selling one. Let's start with that guy, because it's going to have most likely the most reviews. It's going to be proven. It already has, you already know people buy it. So let's start there, and let's go after our direct competitors, other mouthwashes. Now, in this case, so what I want to show you is where you can target, because you really want to kind of target your top competitors. There's a few reasons you want to do that. One, if we do a search, so let me just show you. If we do a search, so we're talking about natural mouthwash. If I just did mouthwash, and you can try this, but let's say if I did mouthwash, you're going to get like Crest and stuff, right? You're going to get top name brands, and in this case, this is a very niche product, right? It's like a natural or organic. So we want to leverage that because we're pulling out our target audience way more specifically, and chances are we're going to have a better conversion rate. Now, I'm not saying don't test the bigger brands, like absolutely. You may get the trade-off there is going to be, it's not as targeted, but the volume is going to be way higher. Like it's not hard to get a million impressions on product display when you target big brands like that. So that's something I definitely encourage you to try as a test. But I would, if you have sort of a unique niche inside of your product, I would start niched down first and then expand out later on. So in this case, we're going to do natural mouthwash. So we do a search, natural mouthwash, and we see, all right, let's see who the big competitors are here, right? Let's go after the big guys. So we got, let's say these 3. So I opened them up here in another window. So I've got the Natural Dentist, Miracle Mouthwash, and Jason. I don't know how I would pronounce that with the 2 dots, but we'll just say Jason. Okay, so a few things to look at. We know these guys are going to get traffic. They're top in a keyword that converts, but there's a few things we want to have a look at. The first thing we want to look at is price. There's all kinds of things you can test with competitor and going after your competitor in terms of what ads to run and where to target. But hands down, price has always been the #1 factor. If you can be a lower price than your competitor and you can call it out, that's going to have a higher click-through rate and a better conversion rate, and that just makes sense. Always remember with AMS, put yourself in the shoes of your buyer. You haven't really ever had to do that much or as much on sponsored products. You absolutely, with AMS, want to think of it more from a marketer's perspective and what is your customer thinking. So they get here, they see a 16 ounce for $10.63. Yours is $11.39. So while you can test this, my experience will say it won't convert that well, because bottom line is they have a better priced option here. This is a little bit higher, even though it says $12.50. Their 16 ounce is $22.95 versus $11.99. So I'm already liking this a whole lot. And while this guy, the price is a lot lower, if we go to our search term report, and I'm not sure why it's not pulling up in here, because we definitely, when we did the pivot table, it definitely pulled up. So I'm not sure why. Or you know what? Maybe it didn't. Maybe there were no ASINs. I think so, actually, guys. I think there were no ASINs. But in the case that you did, this ASIN is a competitor ASIN, and it was inside. Remember, we said it was someone that had clicked our sponsored products ad inside of this listing, and it went ahead and converted, let's say. And I'll show you how we order what to look for. But let's say it went ahead and converted, then this guy actually would actually make a good target. Even though the price is lower and it doesn't fill our price rule, our search term report said, yeah, this is actually a good candidate. So we're going to, we would also run an ad for this. But what I want to focus on for the example is, let's focus on this guy here. So same thing, we put the target, that's going to be the destroyer, right? This is our product. This is the ad that's going to show up. Then we're going to target specific products again, and we're going to go after this ASIN. So the way we get that, we're going to go right here. It's inside of here, and we're just going to grab this guy, copy, paste it into here, search, add him, and boom, there it is. And remember, one ASIN per campaign, so we can track what's working. We're going to turn off expand targeting. And for our campaign name, very similar to what we did before, we're going to have destroy the target competitor and then the destroyer or the advertised product. So we're going to have destroy, Uncle Harry's is like the brand that we're targeting, and mouthwash is the product of ours that's going to be the destroyer. Again, 75 cents, $10 budget, and we get to the headline. So in the headline here, what we want to really call out is the price. That at the end of the day is what's going to work. But if you have a USP, so there's a book. If you guys haven't read it, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. It is a classic. I think every entrepreneur or anyone who runs a business needs to read this book. But he talks about calling out your unique selling proposition and using market data. So being like the only or the first. If you have something in your product, and this won't apply to everyone, so that's why we say price as a backup. But if you have something like the only mouthwash with blah, or the first mouthwash to blank, call that out. You want to call out your USP here, because this is your one shot. I mean, your competitor, or your customer, potential customer, is about to buy your competitor's product. I want to call out here, boom, like, why is this better? And if I can do it with a specific USP that my product is known for, even better. If not, then let's just fall back on price, because that's why we're targeting them. And a simple headline, better dental care at a better price, is fine. Now, your campaigns get reviewed, right? It gets a quick review process. I've never had an issue with better. Best sometimes is a little bit of a gray area, and they will deny it. It's no big deal. If your campaign gets denied, it's not a big deal. You just submit it and change it, and it'll tell you why the headline wasn't approved. No problem. And you just change the headline and resubmit it. So better, we've never had an issue. Best can be a little bit of a gray area. Again, name, brand, same thing, image, and then you can see examples of what it looks like, what your ad will look like. So one thing I want to show you is how we would look inside of we'll do that for Diversify. But for the search term report, make sure that you do look through it. So when you follow what we talked about in was it week number 1? I think it was week number 2, where we talked about lesson number 2. We talked about understanding your sponsored products data, and we talked all about how to create this pivot table, how it all works. And in here is where you'll have an opportunity. You could find if there are any ASINs that are targeted, and then you're going to want to go and individually search for the ASIN. So if you've got 5 ASINs in here, go ahead and search, and if you find one that that has resulted, even if it resulted in clicks, which it has to if it's in here, it has to have at least 1 click. That's good enough to at least try. Because again, we're not throwing $1,000 at this thing. It's going to be a few bucks, and let's see how it converts. So don't be too strict on terms of like, did it convert? What was the click-through rate and all that? If people clicked, let's give it a shot. And yeah, that's our destroy methodology. So it's pretty straightforward. There's some details in there that seem pretty simple, but even as simple as the headline, calling out your USP if you have it, or calling out the price, this can literally take your click-through rate from 0.7% to like 3%, because this is the uniqueness of AMS, is that we can use headlines, we can use marketing principles to call out what is why we're better than our competitor, essentially, which is something we've never been able to do with sponsored products. So hopefully that makes sense. That makes sense, guys. You guys following this?
I love it. Love it.
Okay, cool. Yes, looks great. Yes. Yes, all caps. I love it. Okay. So we've covered defend, we've covered destroy. Now let's talk about diversify. So diversify is a little bit different, right? Because in this example, let's go back to this guy. This guy, and actually, sorry, before we do that, just remember, in this case, we're gonna run this guy, but I won't go through that process. But just so you know, we would also run it for him and just see how it works. But in our destroy, like, we are going right after him. This is a direct competitor. It's another mouthwash. It's a natural mouthwash, and we want to grind this guy to the ground. Or we want to take sales if we can. The idea of using the diversify approach is basically going after our indirect competitors. So in this case, let's kind of brainstorm, right? We have mouthwash here, and we want to see how can we diversify into other niches, or at the very least, even within our own niche, but indirect competitors. So just off the top of your head, probably some indirect competitors, and this I'll show you how it actually comes up in our data, which is the coolest thing. But some indirect competitors would be like, floss or toothbrushes, or I don't know, indirect competitors that are still in the same niche, right? And then we have indirect competitors that are outside of our niche. This is people who are into holistic health, organic lifestyle, people who shop at Whole Foods, right? Like, that's that kind of thing. So we've got indirect competitors within our niche and indirect competitors outside of our niche. And I'm going to show you some tools right inside of here that'll help you identify that. So the first thing we want to do is we want to identify those indirect competitors, and we're going to go first to our search term report, okay? Let's go into here, and this should look somewhat familiar to you guys. Hopefully you guys have seen it. And what I want to do is, actually, let's use this, because if this looks a little like, wait, how did you get here, Brian? Again, have a look at lesson number 2, where we talked all about breaking down your search term report to get it ready for analysis for the rest of the course. All right, so I put a filter on, and for those of you, just so you know, it's just here, data filter, and there's a few things I want to filter on. So the number one thing I care about is, did it convert? So the order of importance when we're looking at other interests or other niches or other related or complementary products that we can start targeting. We want to look at conversions, then look at clicks, then look at impressions. That's kind of like the order of importance. So the first thing is, did it convert? So we're going to go largest to smallest, and let's see what comes up, basically. So I look through here. So mouthwash, that's direct. So anyone that we look at, that's a direct competitor. So that falls into the destroy category. Toothpaste, that's direct. We could go after other toothpastes. We can certainly do that. But I want to branch out beyond that because this is still sort of in the realm of direct competitor, because chances are they have another mouthwash. So what I want to look at is like, what are some complementary interests? And there we go. Boom, floss. We've had 4 conversions under the customer search term floss. So I know when people look for floss and they see my ad, right? Because think about this. Think backwards. This is sponsored products data. So this was just a regular old sponsored products ad. They did a customer search term on floss, saw my ad, and bought the mouthwash in this case, right? So cool. Take note of that. Like that's interesting to me. So dry mouth, maybe there's something there. Boom, there's dental floss again. So that's already 7 conversions based on floss. We can also look at some more stuff here. So you guys are kind of getting the idea, right? So dry mouth lozenges, this is interesting, right? That's something to look into. So hopefully you get kind of the thought process. We're looking at indirect competitors. We're not serving the same product, but we're serving it to the same customer. Outside of that, there's indirect competitors outside of our niche, but in niches that our customers hang out in. And I'll show you a way to identify that. But let's just start with this. Let's say floss. So what we're going to do is follow the same rules, and we're going to go into here, and we're just going to do a search. So again, if you have something unique about your niche, so if you have, natural or organic, let's stay granular. We can always expand out to just regular old floss. And I would encourage you to try that. Like, Crest floss, that's probably good. But remember, put yourself in the customer's shoes. If they're searching for natural floss, they're probably going to be really drawn to natural mouthwash and natural toothpaste, right? That's just kind of the, I fall into that category. Like I would be way more drawn to natural or organic or kind of that mindset or that type of product. So it's going to help conversion rates essentially. Impressions will be lower because there's lower search volume, but conversion rates in theory will be higher. So we're just going to pick one. So it's actually interesting. So the way that I'm going to pick this, I'm going to look for something. So this is one of our, again, super simple but way underutilized. If possible, you get bonus points if you can find something that qualifies for Prime but has like a low ticket, right? So what we want to do is let's find one that like this. So it's Prime, but it's a low ticket price, right? Because what we want to do is we want to get that order up, right? We want to get their order up. They're going to want to spend what is it, Frank? Is it up to 35 or do they bump it to like 50 now or something?
I order from Amazon every day. You think I'd know that? I think is it 25 or 30? I forget.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. I know. I think they bumped it up. I don't remember. They're always changing this. I have no idea. So the point is, we want to get them. We're trying to add their cart. We want to bump up their cart. So it's actually nice if you can get like a lower ticket thing. If not, no big deal. But the point is, here's the floss, and we want to target this spot, right? Because we want them to be here looking at this floss. We know it's one of the top. It's one of the top natural flosses, right? It's going to get some impressions, and boom, we want to hop on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose product. Same thing as usual. We're going to do the diversifier product, which is going to be still our mouthwash. Target specific products. Target Dr. Tongues. So all we did was we went here. We grabbed the ASIN from up here, and again, uncheck expand targeting. And our headline is going to, or our campaign name, it's going to be same structure, diversify the target competitor, so in this case indirect competitor, and the diversifier or the advertised product. So we're going to do Dr. Tongue's floss, mouthwash, 75 cents again, $10, and then the headline. So the headline, what our sort of rule is you want to basically, again, like call out the related interest, right? Like in this case, I'm getting really niche. I know it's natural, so I want to call out the fact that it's natural, but like, why are these things sort of complementary? So in this case, I use something simple like complete clean the natural way, right? It's like you have the floss, and finish it off with a good mouthwash, and you're staying all natural. You're staying true to your values. You're staying true to the things that matter to you, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer. Same thing, brand name. Oh, I didn't talk about this. You can change the description if you'd like. We typically keep this the same, but if you wanted to get a little extra like, characters in there and you want to do something else, you can change this, but we usually keep that the same. And here it'll give you, again, the different previews. But this is what would show up then inside of here. So again, someone's here, they're going smart floss, like, oh, nice. I can go ahead and pick up this natural mouthwash that is going to give me the complete clean the natural way. All right. So we talked about that. Oh, cool. So one of my favorites that no one ever addresses and I think is very, very cool. So here we go. We always did target specific products, but in this case, we're only going to look. So again, please, 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 let's be totally clear. You are always, at least at first, I mean, when you guys are, when you guys are in a week from now, when you guys are experts, go test and try stuff. I mean, like we want to always challenge what we know. But for now, I'd really like you guys to get started on always targeting ASINs, so specific products, instead of related categories or interests. But one thing you can do, if you click here, Amazon will actually give you some related categories. So
I love that, Brian. It's like, once again, Amazon's given us what they're like, here, please sell this stuff too, because you'll make money.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, guys, like we talked about this, like you want to do what's good for Amazon. Amazon wants you to sell, right? They want you to make money. They make money when you make money. The reality is that a lot of these tools aren't really available to regular seller accounts. This is more like vendor type stuff that they give to vendors, like, and the higher end vendors, I mean, they have like other tools, but this is very, very powerful. Like, we don't have to try to use some third-party application. Like, they're telling us, hey, breath fresheners, denture care. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that, right? I would have never thought of that, actually. So these are, and I'm not saying to advertise here, but this gives you an idea of something you can go search and now target the ASIN specifically. So teeth whitening, tongue cleaners. I would have never thought about tongue cleaners. That's awesome, right? Actually, that goes perfectly hand in hand. So dry mouth relief. In fact, I think dry mouth was one of the things that was in here, I thought. I thought I saw that. Dry mouth, right. So this is like one of the coolest tools that's available to us right inside of here, and that's going to help us really understand how to diversify. When I discovered this, seriously, this is like one of the most exciting things, because sometimes you're racking your brain, you're just not sure what to go target. And this gives you the answer, basically, because they're telling you. And then once you get it, you go ahead, do a search the same way we did here. So you would do, I don't know, tongue cleaner, and go in here, pick one. There's Dr. Tongue again, and actually that's kind of nice because Dr. Tongue, he's into the natural stuff, right? He had the natural floss, so this is great. Actually, go ahead and target this guy, and you would go ahead, run your ad. Target that ASIN, boom. And remember, one campaign, one ASIN. And we talked about this. So with diversify, we have our target competitor diversifier. So just some final notes. I just want to make sure you guys are totally clear on. So do not expand targeting. That's this guy right here. This is just giving Amazon a blank check. Maybe later on you want to test this. If you do test it, remember, change one variable at a time. So you're going to take this whole campaign and just change this one thing. But I'll tell you from experience, this tends to just give kind of, you get higher impressions, but CTR tends to go down and cost tends to go up. So again, one target, one ASIN per campaign. I think I've said it enough. And one thing that we just found out, I'm not sure if this is just coincidence or what we found was you can go ahead and start the ads, but if Amazon owns the buy box, and what I mean by that is, most of you probably know, but if it says shipped and sold by Amazon, we have seen that if you had so like if you had that product here and Dr. Tongue's, it turned out it was shipped and sold by Amazon, we have seen where this doesn't get it's not eligible. And what's even sneakier is we've seen that then the product that is here is another shipped and sold by Amazon product. So they seem to be blocking that product display for their products that they own the buy box for. Now, it's not across the board, and we're just we're hypothesizing at this point because it doesn't say that anywhere. I mean, obviously they don't disclose that, but it's one thing that we've seen. So if you run these ads and for some reason the actual ad won't be rejected, it'll just say that product is ineligible. So you'll be able to run it, but later on it'll say ineligible when you go into the campaign itself. I would encourage you to go check to see who owns the buy box. It's only been like literally, it's just literally in the last 2 days was the first instance I've heard of this. So I don't know if it's a recent change, but as you know, things are always changing and evolving. So that's just the latest development. So I just want to make you aware of that. But obviously post in the group, ask your question, let us know, and it'll be fun. We can dig into it and see what's going on. But it's very rare, and obviously all you have to do is just target a different competitor, and you're off to the races.
So it's not that you lose, Brian, it's not that you lose the whole category or a chance to compete, just that if you go head-to-head with FBM, I'm sorry, with sold, shipped and sold by Amazon, there's no way that you're going to win that.
We don't, and we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure.
Right.
Like, it's a theory at this point, and it's just in the few cases that I've worked with sellers, and I'm in a different group that also talks about a lot of advertising and stuff, and all the AMS questions get sort of addressed to me. It's something that just came up, and we're digging into it and kind of researching it and monitoring it. So definitely, if you guys see that happen, definitely give us your feedback and post in the group. But that seems to be the culprit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So in terms of like prepared material, that's it, guys. We have defend, destroy, diversify. You have the product display ad strategy. All I can tell you is this is super, super powerful, guys. Like, go ahead, implement it. We'll start tweaking, bids, and we'll talk about optimization in the group. But definitely, we're starting with low bids. We're starting with low budgets. So we do that purposely. Remember, we talked about that in the initial training when you guys first came on. Is we talk about scaling micro budgets, taking small budgets and we scale them up, and that's how we're able to keep those ACosts down and make a decent little profit on these sales, and drive sales and velocity and all that fun stuff. So that's what I've got. Do you guys have questions? Go ahead and put them in the question box, and we'll start going through them.
I'm going to have one or two of my own, Brian, and the first one would be people in the States that are selling in the UK, where would they get a shipping address in the UK?
People in the States selling
and I'm just repeating this. In other words, if somebody, so this is a question somebody put into an email and said, hey, ask Brian about it, I don't understand it. In other words, if I want to open up if I want to do this if I want to do AMS in the UK, I would have to ship a product. It's kind of like the reverse, how people in the UK are shipping products here to get listed. What can we offer them for like overcoming that address idea?
Yeah, we don't run into that a lot. I can let me see. We haven't run into that issue where we had US sellers that were selling in the UK, but I guess that would apply to any market. Let me think. We'll have to follow up with them because I know there's a way to do it because I've had sellers do it before. Yeah, I'll have to follow up. I'll follow up in the group and post it. I'll write that down.
Okay, and then the second one that I had was from Christy. She was asking me because she's already doing the campaign. How does somebody determine? Because we were talking back and forth about how high what do you do with your regular sponsored ad campaigns, and how do you determine the amount of ads? How do you know when your AMS stuff is making money versus your sponsored ads making money? And I was trying to help her make sense of how to determine the amount of sales coming from your sponsored ads versus AMS. So how would you explain it in layman's term without complicating it?
I mean, it's two totally different reporting sides. Yeah. So
you don't have to add them up and average out.
I mean, you track them separately. Like, yeah. There's the sponsored product side and there's the AMS side.
Yep. That's the way I explained it. So there's no way for, I guess the way I'm saying is there's no way to combine. It's like two separate businesses to combine your reports or anything like that. So that
yeah, I mean the format of the reporting is like totally different.
It doesn't even add up. Doesn't even match up.
Yeah, so you'd have to track it separately.
Okay. Great. Those people come to me with these questions. So what else do we have here? I'm sure we have an inquisitive audience as always today.
So it says, let's see. So we have Eldar. So when you want to defend your listings, does it have to be another parent, or is child okay? Oh, I see. So it's interesting because it used to always be parent, but then we've seen more and more like people able to actually put their child ASINs as their 3 products, even in a headline ad. So the child ASIN is probably going to be just fine. So go ahead and put that through, because it used to be very strict, like it was only parent ASINs. But more and more I'm seeing people able to use the child ASIN. So I would definitely put that in.
That was a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, Elder's on top of it. So when a customer typed a keyword in Amazon search, so they click on your competitor and then decided to click your display ad and then purchase it, do you get keyword boost for that keyword that customer typed? Oh, I see. So keyword ranking. If they clicked on the competitor, then decided to click your display ad, I'm assuming the product display ad, then purchase it. Oh, like the word that got them through to your product display ad? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had a similar question in terms of, is there ways to get like a rank boost with like headline? The honest answer is, what's that?
I said I love this question. I'm sitting here laughing because, first of all, it's AMS. You're killing your competition. You're crush, killing, and destroying. You're defending. You've got full armament. You're sweeping across the planet, stealing business from other people, and now you want to get credit for the keywords too. That is like a true entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Entrepreneur right there, dude.
Listen, I know it's funny because I've never Elder, I've never met you in person, but I know you're in the group, and I know you're always, he's on top of it. So yeah, he's like, all right, what else can I get? The honest answer is
he wants the competition to validate his parking as well, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah. I don't have, so again, I'm not gonna like throw an answer together and BS. I don't have data to say either way. I haven't seen that as even a strategy for us to like boost rank by via product display ad through a keyword search, right? Like, because really it's a little bit, there's too many variables there, so there's no way to really track it. So it's hard to have enough of a sample size to know, and we wouldn't even know what the source was. So the bottom line is like, I don't have data on it, but it's because I can't even off the top of my head think of a way to track that. And unfortunately, Amazon is very quiet right now about the inner workings of AMS. At least on the sponsored product side, there's a little more documentation, so we can look into it. They give you ranking factors. They talk about the ad rank process. They give you the factors both on the paid side and the organic side. They're a little more revealing. On AMS, they're so quiet, which is good. That's why your competitors don't know about it, because they don't really promote this. But the flip side of that is, yeah, we just don't know that. But again, it's very hard to know like what keyword it got them to that competitor listing and then got them to click. Like, I don't even think there's a way for us to be able to track that. So what happens if you don't have a complementary product? 2 products that are similar. Boom. Just use whatever you have. Again, when it comes to the main thing is you just want to take over that ad space. I don't care if it's defend, diversify, or destroy or diversify. On the destroy side, you're probably, if you don't have anything that's you're complementary, you're probably talking about your own defend. You just want to block that list. Like, you just want to take over that spot. What I will tell you is, the more complementary it is, the more like natural it is in that buying process, like we talked about. The more you scratch that next itch that they have, the lower your ACoS is going to be. So the difference between a 15% ACoS and like a 40% ACoS, a lot of times will come down to how complementary they are. There's other factors, right? We can write a headline and all that, but what you will find is if it has nothing to do with the other product, the price you'll pay is a higher ACoS, but that's okay, because that's one of the battles we're willing to sort of lose in general. I mean, unless it's astronomical. If it's 300% ACoS, then fine, we might have to give up on that, or definitely test some other options. But what I would say is, there's some battles we want to win. There's some battles that we're okay losing, and one of them that we got to have some leeway on is protecting our own listing. If we have a competitor that ranks really high on page one, but their BSR is very low, not sure if it's Black Hat. Okay. Would it be good to target those ASINs? I just care about traffic. So if they're ranking high, they're getting traffic. If you look at the statistics, right? 70% of the clicks on page one come from spots 1, 2, and 3, and I think it's 30% of people never make it past page one. So of everyone who then lands on page one, 70% of people are staying there, and of that, it's like 75, I think 70 or 75% isn't even going past spot 3. So if they're ranking high, yeah, I think it's worth testing, because at the very least there's going to be traffic. Would you recommend to target as many ASINs as possible that fall under the price and complementary strategy? So within reason, right? It's within your budget. But if it falls within the strategy, yes, because now we're testing, and you're going to find the more you test, the more you're going to find the one that has the 5% ACoS, and we're going to put money towards that as opposed to the one that has 25. So yeah, absolutely. Do you also A/B test the image sizes of display ads? So not image sizes. We do A/B test the images themselves, but not image sizes. Can you repeat the formula for the title and the diversify part? Yeah, no problem. So I'll just show it to you, probably easier. Did you say defend? Or, sorry, let's see, diversify. Oh, right. So very simple, right? We're just going to do diversify because we just want to know what's in there when we're looking at high level. We'll look at the target competitor. So in this case, just the name. I think we had this guy. It was Dr. Tongue's floss, just so we knew, like, hey, who's in here? And then the product that we're using, so mouthwash, and that's like the diversifier, we'll call it. That's the advertised product. In all of our, and you could flip this around. Just be consistent so that that third thing, that's the product that's being advertised. If you notice, that's the same pattern we have with all of our naming conventions. All right. Sorry to regress, but what do I put in the social insurance number box? It won't take. Won't take the EORI number. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what an EORI number is.
Oh, is that Diane's question? That was the one I had to ask you as well.
Yeah, maybe we'll take that offline. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what an EORI number is. Maybe
it's her being in Canada, I guess.
Oh, I see.
So in other words, she's trying to show, doing everything here, and it's not letting her.
Okay, so actually, Joseph Harwood, by the way, I think he's getting at the point here, is any address works, they don't check.
Well, that was easy enough.
So I have one little treat I have is I've got a buddy. I'm not won't share any details, but we're actually filming this whole thing so that you can see how I'll tease it a little bit. We have a pretty cool way to get another product in. It'll be done soon, so I'll show you. But it's basically just an even simpler way. But they just don't check this stuff, guys. It's pretty straightforward, and I don't want to be so nonchalant about it, because it is obviously want to make sure everyone gets approved, we get everyone in. But yeah, just go through the process. If it gets denied, it's not a big deal. We just try again. It's not like one of those things where we'll get blacklisted or something.
It's the thing is, a lot of times, even like you said before, and I didn't want to interrupt you with the you're talking about if your headline gets disallowed and stuff like that. You just keep trying. You just go. It's just like one of the things that I stress over and over again with Amazon is if you call them up and you have a problem, or if you email them and you have a problem and you don't like the answer, that's not your answer. It's like a kid nagging a parent. Eventually you'll get the answer that you want if you're being reasonable. You just have to ask the question either enough times, or you just have to get the right person, because there's so many people on Amazon, Brian, that are just reading from whatever manual or computer screen they have in front of them, and there's little to no thought or ingenuity put into anything that anybody you deal with is just pretty much, God love them, they're great people, but they're pretty much just hacks reading from a playbook. And so you have nothing to lose by resubmitting, redialing, recalling. You're not going to get banned. And it's amazing to me. Amazon is so anal about certain things and so restrictive, and then they're so cavalier and nonchalant about other things. and yet as marketers, we find both, some of the things that they're cavalier about we find valuable, and some of the things that they're nonchalant about we find valuable. And I don't know, it's not for me to understand their corporate reasoning, but I think persistence and thinking on your feet are the things that will get you through what you need to get through here. And Brian, I think the challenge with everything that we do is it's so darn simple and it's so effective that people tend to look for the complication or the catch, but there isn't one. Like there's no catches. This is what you do. I like that. They don't check the address. Keep moving. Boom. Problem solved. Right on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think and everyone's moving along. I think it's just sometimes, yeah. I think everyone's good, and I know a lot of people are running ads here. So let's see. So let's. How do you place different ad placements? Oh, I see, Joseph. What you're saying? Do you test the different ad placements? No. All it's doing is it's previewing. Like you're not selecting an ad placement here. It's just telling you like what the different ad placements will look like. That's all. So it's gonna run all of them. And for some reason, this product isn't eligible for email. But if your product is, then it'll also be eligible. It'll say email, and it'll actually appear in emails. When Amazon sends out emails to people who bought that product, which is pretty awesome. So let's see. So how do you A/B test a title? Do you run 2 campaigns at the same time, or first one for the first few days and run another one? You want to keep everything the same. Let the impression split naturally. So same bid. You're just going to keep everything the same. You change the one variable, which is just the headline. Okay. The better that you do that, then the more control you keep over that, the less variables, the better you're going to be able to target what's actually what's responsible for the change, whether positive or negative. And yes, you have to run 2 campaigns. I filled out the survey for AMS. They sent the survey to all the users, and I actually posted in the group. It was actually pretty cool because it showed it gave you some insights on some things that they're working on and future developments that they're going to be bringing out, because that's why they're surveying. They want to know what to come out with first. And I put in big bold letters like, please incorporate ad groups into the campaigns, because what that'll allow us to do is have one campaign just for this and put all of our split tests inside of a campaign instead of having 10 different campaigns. So hopefully they like they read feedback and implement it.
One thing, Brian, just let me add one thing there. When you talk about testing 2 headlines, it's really important that you guys learn the discipline of taking notes and documenting everything that you do. You make a change, write it down, date it, Tuesday the 5th or whatever, I made this change. And then you can always go back. And a lot of times what I find is people forget. They get so busy changing stuff. And it's even, never mind ads, this goes for listings and everything else you do on Amazon. If you swap out an image, anything you do, just document it so that you have a log of the changes you made, because you never know when a pattern's going to show up based on something you did. And probably more importantly, you need to know what you changed to figure out what worked or what didn't work. Or maybe you changed something and it messes something up. You want to be able to pull the plug and switch it back to the old way. And if you don't keep good notes, you get lost.
Yeah, exactly. So keep a control log. I know that's you're like, what? Change log, so you know what you changed and stuff. That's good for your listings and all that. But at the very least, make sure you just keep a document. An Excel spreadsheet's good enough. Just like, what did you change and what was the headline? But you'll have a record of it all in here, so you'll be good. And then Fernando, he asks, yeah, but do I run 2 campaigns? Yes, you do run 2 campaigns at the same time. You won't compete against each other, and if you have as long as you have the same bid, the impressions will split between the 2. So yes, 2 campaigns, same time. You don't have to pause one and run the other. Can I modify an ad on AMS, or do you copy and create a new campaign? Just copy it. There's no way to modify right now. That was actually one of the things that was one of the questions inside of the survey. Was you had to rank in least importance to most importance. Like each time they showed you like 4 options, and you had to pick one that was most important, one that was least out of 4, and they kept showing you. It was like 11 questions, and one of them was the ability to modify campaigns. I actually don't care about that. If you look at how we run every campaign, whether it's AdWords or Facebook or AdRoll, any of our external traffic campaigns, you learn that you always want to, you never want to edit an existing campaign. So for those of you who run Facebook ads, and it's a little off topic, never edit existing campaigns. After 24 hours, the machine's already running. And if you edit it, you're just going to confuse it. I'm not saying there's as much optimization going on the Amazon side, but the algorithms are all pretty similar in the sense that you always just want to recreate campaigns. You don't want to edit something that's already moving. In this case, I don't want to start a whole other conversation, but yeah, short story, just copy and start new. All right, that's all we got, Frank.
Excellent. This was another great call, and I appreciate the fact that you're willing to work with us and do sort of a bonus or an additional follow-up and stuff.
Yeah, I'll show you some stuff. Like, I'll just give everyone I think it'll be more of an update to show you guys, hey, remember those headline ads we ran? Here's what's going on, and here's some ideas. Just kind of a little heads up, because if some of you really, I mean, I know some of you got really into it and like just boom, just got into it and started running ads, and you have some questions about like what you should be doing. So I want to use those as a little bit of a case study, so you can see like, okay, cool, like this is how you should adjust. But definitely, if you have questions, I mentioned this, guys, feel free. You can post your screenshots, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But
excellent.
yeah, I think that'll help. That'll be helpful. So cool. So actually, one more thing. Could you repeat the CPC you recommend when you target the category? Yeah. So in general, I'll just show you. This is kind of our rules. So when starting out, this is for all of our product display, whether it's Defend, Diversify, Destroy. 50 cents to $1 starting out. It tends to be a little more expensive. So this is our starting point. I did 75 cents for these and a budget of $10. And again, it comes down to, you look at the results, and we're going to look at cost. And if we're not getting impressions, I'll have a whole thing that we'll talk about troubleshooting. But basically, if you're not getting impressions, yeah, you're probably going to have to bump it up a little bit. If you're paying, if you're not getting, if your A cost is too high, we're going to bump it down. It's very straightforward with product display, because there's really only one lever you can pull. You can go higher with the price or lower, and then after that, we got to start tweaking things like copy and what we're targeting and things like that. All the other stuff we talked about. So, because like there's no match type, essentially, is what I'm saying. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being on the call, and thank you for all the questions. This is obviously, it's helpful for you guys, I hope, but it's helpful for everyone else that ever watches these, because these are recorded, and these great questions are going to be serving humankind for all time.
Till the end of all time. I like that. Yeah. This is written in stone, man. I love it. Well, thank you, Brian, and thank you, everybody. You beautiful entrepreneurial people, I salute you for your bravado and your courage in moving forward with AMS and taking advantage of something that is so amazing for your business. And it's like Amazon giving you free poker chips and saying, come play with us, please use our knowledge and make more money with us. So I salute you guys. You deserve this. Make sure you're following the instructions. Any questions, step up, raise your hand. And Brian, I guess we'll talk to him same bat time, same bat channel next week, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to have to, we'll edit the schedule. We'll post it in the group, but we're probably going to meet on probably Thursday. Isn't going to work because, well, we'll post in the group. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll find a time that works, and we'll let you guys know, and it'll be in your members area, and you guys will see the time. So, cool. All right,
Excellent.
guys.
That's
Talk
it
to you
then.
next week.
Love you guys. Talk to you next week. Keep up the good work.
Bye.